All right, everybody, welcome back in to another episode of the Mark Lesko Podcast, Steelers Central, joined by Jared. Once again, Jared, how you doing, man?
Oh, dude, I'm so pumped. I am so happy that everything worked out the way it was. I mean, it was great to see Russ in the second half, naturally. I mean, in the first quarter, we were all kind of like, well, this is kind of what we all thought. But then he turned it all on, and everybody turned it all on. I mean, it was a collective team win with Russ leading the way. And naturally, we have to say, well, Mike Tomlin, here's a thing about this that we never really took an angle at because, again, it just seems like it's natural to kind of go in the negative way with Tomlin. But in the positive spin, maybe there is a reason why Mike Tomlin never has had a coach come off of his staff, because maybe the dude is just legitimately his own guy in the sense like he's on his own island. He's his own creation himself. Like he doesn't distill any kind of wisdom on anyone else. Like he lets them come in and do their thing. I mean, it's actually kind of a pretty awesome structure that it's like, well, you come and do your job and I'm just going to let you guys do what you do and I'll do what I do. Like, and it is what it is. Like he is absolutely in every right to think he was right about this because we saw it. It was a great statement to make to the AFC, to the NFL, that the Steelers do have a legitimate team overall. I'm not saying we are the best. I'm not saying we're even in the top 5 yet, but we certainly are making a case that we could very well be in the playoffs and at least win one.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he was right. Russ looked really good. I'm going to pull up his stats here. Just go through the box score. I mean, he looked really good, man. He had 3 touchdowns. I mean, I was really happy with the performance. They started out slow, but they pulled away. And this, the Jets aren't a bad team. They have some really good guys on their defense for sure.
Really good guys.
Yeah, and overall, he came out. He was composed. He did really well. And I've always said it that any player that comes to the Steelers can be better than where they're at now. Even Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he could probably I don't know about him, but my point is that
right.
You come to the Steelers, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, like Michael Parsons, Saquon Barkley, if they come to the Steelers, they could be better. And I think that's what we saw here. And we saw the Russ that played for Seattle for sure.
Yes, sir.
He redeemed himself. He redeemed Coach Tomlin for sure because we have been questioning him, and he needed a quarterback. I think he's got one. And, I said it before, man, Mike Tomlin's a great mentor. First of all, as a coach, he's a great mentor for Justin Fields, a young quarterback. He's a great mentor for Russell Wilson. And then Russell Wilson's a great mentor for Justin Fields. And Russell Wilson is also a great guy for Coach Tomlin, and he's a great guy for the team. And when you have a great quarterback, a great mentor as a quarterback, like Russell Wilson, that's better for the whole team. And I always I'm a religious guy. I pray and stuff like that, but he's a very religious person, Russell Wilson. He's a good guy. I mean, he does a lot of work in the community, especially with the children's hospitals and stuff like that. He's just a good person. So, that doesn't always mean something on the field. Like Tim Tebow didn't really correlate in the NFL. It had nothing to do with his faith. It was just he was very devout to his faith, and he wasn't that great of a player in the NFL. But it's nice when you see both, a good person and a good player come together in one, because you don't always get that. But yeah, he did really good. He looked good. Najee, I mean, it opened up the run game. Like, that was unbelievable. But yeah, man, I mean, it really injected me with some hope. And I hadn't felt like that in a long time. Seeing that, and Jared, like we talked about last week, have you felt this optimistic and happy in a long time? I haven't felt like this in a long time about the Steelers. And that was after my little rant I did, so.
Yep. Listen, we're looking at a plethora of positivity. It's definitely encouraging to watch a guy like Justin Fields be as competitive as he's been and very maintaining the game the way he has. And then, of course, a guy like Russell Wilson, who, had a little bit of it took a while to get going, but once he got on the gas, dude, he was not stopping. It was just all steam ahead. It's really great to see everything kind of give the best version of what we were hoping for. This is about as good as it was going to get for them. You take a look at that box score, hold it right there for the running backs and the quarterback. Go back up.
Yep.
So what you have right here is very interesting. Look at the Jets' run game. Look at that. That right there is defense, 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 my friend. That is about as shutting it down. If you take the touchdown away, that is about as shut down as you can pretty much get in the NFL. And if you look at Breece Hall, who is one of the better running backs in the game, Jaylen Warren did exactly what he did with just one touchdown less. That's insane that the backup or the number 2 RB did as good as the other team's number 1. That's a fantastic thing to witness and to see with numbers. Guys like Najee, I know you were critical of this guy, thinking he might not be a Steeler for much longer, but you've seen what this dude looks like when it comes to relying on him solely. When we didn't have Jaylen Warren or Cordell Patterson for the Raiders, dude went nuts. He was like, my back's against the wall. I've got to get going. And he just plowed everyone down. He went crazy in that game. And in this one, too. This is absolutely some of the better results that we could ask for. And we were talking about the offensive line last week, maybe not doing anything for this team. Dude, everyone stepped up on that line. It was great to see what they did for them. I was utterly in shock of how the holes were there. Everything was perfectly held up for Russ and them. He threw 16 passes. 16 for 29, nothing to really get crazy about, but 264 with 2 touchdown passes. It's absolutely fantastic. And George Pickens finally looking like George, like we thought we could see him, seeing those great circus catches he was making left and right with Russ. It was exactly what the offense needed. And the wide receivers have got to be in the locker room just jumping up and down all around Russ, thank you for opening up the freaking passing game. It was a glorious thing to watch, dude. It all worked. Everything. Run game, pass, everyone on defense, the offensive line, and of course, Boswell. He was always up for anything. Again, it's a great thing to watch your team when everything is working. And dude, I'm not saying this is a trap game or anything, but this is kind of a statement you have to talk about this week with the Giants. Monday Night Football, you have got to stop playing down to the opponent. This team is decimated. Daniel Jones is on his last leg, or he will be this week because TJ's going to maul him, and Highsmith, and potentially Elliott. We're talking anyone on the defense will have their pick of what body part they want to rip off that man and beat him with. That's pretty much what we're looking at. So This week that's what it is. We should not even be in the conversation of losing this game. It's just a question of, will we do what we always do and somehow keep this game close by half? Again, we don't want a boring game. We don't want a 50-3 bout, but it's just at the same time, it's a team like the Giants that are hurt, that don't have, now they're going to get Malik Neighbors back. He's going to be a huge factor for them. So I know that this team has a couple things. Dexter Lawrence is a phenomenal defensive guy. He's done a lot of great things. The Giants lead the NFL in sacks. Their defense, of all the teams in the NFL, the Giants lead in sacks. That was what? Like that team with their record they have 31 sacks. So, I mean, I think what we're looking at this week personally is we're probably going into it going probably run heavy again. I mean, again, we may say Justin Fields actually in this game, maybe just as much as Russ. I don't know, because again, I rely solely on Justin Fields to manage the game with his legs more than his arm, of course. But I mean, it would be interesting to see what the Steelers do going forward, especially if they can somehow fuse both guys into the game plan. And then it's like everything's up in the air for anyone who plays us. That's like, this is a problem. You have two great quarterbacks that can make anything happen at any given time. And then you have two running backs that it's like between Najee and Jalen, it's like their speed, their ability to make things happen with their legs as well. It's just like, this is the best embarrassment of riches that you could have. Because again, once you get the run game established, then Pickens, then Freiermuth, even Washington, Darnell Washington, that skyscraper with muscles, can just get up there. Imagine that, 6'7", no quarterback is getting that guy. You just go like this, that your quarterback's done. All he has to do is catch it, and he will be able to get at least 7-8 yards. That's all I'm asking. Like, dude, this is a very interesting situation if this continues to get better.
Yeah, a couple things that stood out to me. Russell Wilson threw the ball to his target, to his weapons, and let them make plays. That's one thing. Like George Pickens, who can, he's unbelievable. He's Lynn Swan-esque, man. Like the way he moves, he's very nimble. I mean, he can do anything, man. He's so good. And Russell Wilson threw him open. He let his playmakers make plays. He opened up the run game. He looked good. I mean, again, like he's a veteran and he brings a good decorum to this team. I mean, he's fitting right in, and he just makes this team better. In this game, he made this team better. Now we'll see going forward. It was one game, but yeah, he made the offense better. The defense actually had an opportunity to kind of show what they can show because they weren't on the field 24/7 because of bad offensive play. And Justin Fields, he's a good quarterback, but he needs more mentorship and he needs to be a backup to Russell Wilson. And he has a great coach and mentor in Mike Tomlin. Like I said, I mean, he's in a perfect position right now to grow and become a better quarterback. Anybody that plays for Mike Tomlin as a player is lucky. I mean, that doesn't mean I'm the biggest fan of him. He still hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. But at the end of the day, man, like I saw this thing today, his winning percentage with Big Ben was like 60-some%. And since then, it's been 57%. And that's with, they said, a majority of backups. Like they've had Kenny Pickett, who was terrible, Mitch Trubisky, who was pretty bad. They had who else did they have?
Mason?
They had Mason Rudolph. They had Landry Jones. They've had Justin Fields. I mean, he's been 57% winning with these backup players, pretty much these backup quarterbacks. So that goes a long way too in terms of what he's done. He's not a bad coach, but at the end of the day, like you need to win playoff games in order to keep your job and keep the fans happy. And he has not done that. So that's kind of like the rub right there. But yeah, it's just a good situation for the quarterback room. And then overall, the way Russell Wilson is, like as a veteran, and what he did before he was he played in a Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls, he won one. And if he can bring that to us, and he's going to get more money after the season if he does well, he's going to get a long-term deal for sure. He can still play. I don't know. I don't remember how old he is, but he can still play football. He's not old by any means. I think he's like 35. So, yeah, I mean, overall, man, at the end of the day, like It was just a good game. It's a good performance, and all of us as Steelers fans, like Jersey Jerry podcast, the host, I can't remember his name, but he said that he was wrong about Russell Wilson because Jersey Jerry said you're going to be all wrong about Russell Wilson. He's going to do good. And yeah, he got his own sandwich, which is awesome.
Yes, he did.
The Danger Russ sandwich. Is that Danger Russ?
Yes,
sandwich?
Danger Russ. Yes.
Let me see. I'll pull it up. But yeah, man. I mean, he's fitting right in. I mean, he's definitely a Steeler. That's for sure. He's definitely a Steeler. As I said, like the way his character is, he's a religious guy. He does a lot of work in the community. Yeah, he's a Steeler for sure. I mean, he's just a good. He's a good. He has a good demeanor. He's just a good character guy, and it correlates to the field, fortunately for us. So yeah, it's just overall, man, it's just good to see. I mean, he's just a good fit in my opinion, and we saw that in the first game, and I do think that we're going to see that continuing for the rest of the season. Doesn't mean we're going to win a Super Bowl this year or anything, but yeah, that's his sandwich right there, and he just totally deserves that. $1 of it goes to the Children's Hospital, and I would like to know what's on that because Permani's food. I don't know if you've ever had Permani's food because State College.
I have. I've been to Permani Brothers in Pittsburgh. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
love it to death.
Permani's in State College is my favorite bar to go to. That's my favorite bar by far, and it's pretty much a Pittsburgh bar. I don't think there's any Eagle stuff in there, which is fantastic. And the painting on the wall is all steel. It's like Franco's on there, and all kinds of guys. But yeah, by far it's my favorite bar. But the food there, man, is good. Like the sandwiches are good, the pizza's good. I mean, so I would like to go. We should go get that, Jared. We should go get one.
Yes, absolutely.
But we'd have to go like during normal hours because weekends it's insane there. Like it's a madhouse. But and they have a second level now, which I haven't been there since they put that in.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, and it was also, and there's a couple bars like that for me, but it was also one of those bars where I never waited in line. I just knew people at the front and they just let me in, and that's all, because that line is always extremely long. But yeah, he's pretty much been welcomed in officially if he has his own sandwich at Permani's. I mean, that's right. I mean, every draft player, first round pick at least, they go to Permani's when they get to Pittsburgh. TJ Watt did it. So if you have your own sandwich, then yeah, I think Ben has one. TJ will definitely have one if he already doesn't. They should just make all their sandwiches after former players, man. They should, because they have so many great players. The Steelers do. But yeah, man, like I said, you heard my rant last week, and for me personally, like as someone who was in that mindset, and this is just me and my opinion of the Steelers. There's a lot of more important stuff going on in the world right now other than my opinion on the Steelers. But yeah, it's just it gave me a lot of hope, and I was very happy, and I mean it just gave me it reinforced my mindset of supporting my team and just getting me out of that funk that I was in for sure with the Steelers, because it's been a tough